Ohayou gozaimasu! Good morning and welcome to episode 4 of my Japan series, where we begin with our first full day in Miyajima. I absolutely fell in love with this island. It's hands down one of my favourite parts of Japan that we visited. The weather was warm and I loved the old style buildings and quaint little streets lined with shops and food stalls. Very reminiscent of traditional Japan. The day began with a visit to the Itsukushima Shrine. Itsukushima is the official name of the island, but it is more commonly known as Miyajima, which means Shrine Island. It's most famous for its giant torii gate, which at high tide appears to float on water. The shrine's main building is also built over water.
Donation. We can see how much money was donated by who. And the bigger the money.
That's our new guide, Nobu-san. She explained that many traditional Japanese weddings continue to be held at the shrine, and that the ceremony takes place in this room here. Funnily enough, we later found out that a member of staff at the hotel was going to be married there the next day. I think the rest of the group were trying to drop some heavy hints that we should consider having our wedding there. Now where's Zach got to? Let's see if we can spot him. There he is! Found him! We will shortly be heading to the Daisho-in Temple. The official entrance to this temple is the Myomon Gate, which is guarded by 2 Neo statues. There really were some truly spectacular buildings, and everywhere you went you were surrounded by nature, and the occasional deer. Here's the entrance gate I was talking about. We took a left here at the main staircase and encountered the 500 little statues wearing red knitted caps and bibs. These are called the Rakan, or First Disciples of Buddha, and honour Jizo Busatsu, the Buddhist deity of children and travellers. The red bibs and caps are believed to ward off evil. There was even a statue for each of the Chinese zodiac signs. That was me ringing the 500-year-old Daisho-in bell, which used to be the island's timepiece, signalling the morning, noon and night. Nowadays it signifies the time for praying. Just look at that cherry blossom over the bridge. Now I really feel like I'm in old Japan, almost like I'm in an episode of Naruto, wandering through the village of Konoha. Any anime fans watching will know what I'm on about.
Why, hello there.
Then came the main event of the day, visiting the highest mountain on the island, Mount Misen. The group split into 2, half of which travelled up the mountain via cable car, and the other half opted to hike on foot. No prizes for guessing which option we went for. I'm looking pretty knackered here. It was a very hot day, guys, and it took us over 2 hours to reach the top. Nearly there. We also took a slight detour first to the Shishiiwa Observatory, where we caught a spectacular view overlooking the sea. Finally, we made it to the top. Well, there was still technically another 300 metres left to get to the highest peak on the island. But myself and another member of our group had had enough by this point, so we waited by the Reika-do hall whilst the rest carried on. The hall is home to a sacred fire that has been burning for over 1200 years and was used to light the peace flame in the Hiroshima Peace Park. Here's Zach and the others at the very top of the mountain. Safe to say, the journey back down was much more relaxing. We had the rest of the afternoon to explore at our leisure, so we decided to do a bit of souvenir shopping. I love the happy wooden spatulas here. By this point it was mid-afternoon and we hadn't eaten, so time to grab a very late lunch. Here we have grilled squid, takoyaki and chips, which were almost gobbled up by a deer. Honestly, it stuck its head right between us and made a beeline for the chips, and then tried to get into my handbag. That evening's dinner consisted of yet another delicious kaiseki, accompanied by some plum wine. There was an array of sushi, sashimi, steamed flathead fish in green pea soup, sea bream, conger eel, oyster, roasted Hiroshima beef, steamed rice, clam miso soup, and much more. Most of day 8 involved a lot of travelling by ferry and the shinkansen again, so we grabbed ourselves some bento box lunches from the station to have on the train, and I got myself some momiji manju, which are sweet cakes filled with red bean paste and baked in the shape of a maple leaf. This is the local speciality on Miyajima, and you can get them in different flavours, including matcha. We eventually arrived in Beppu, where we were greeted by our new guide, Tomoko-san. In the afternoon, we had a tour of the Jigoku, also known as the Hells of Beppu, which comprised of 7 hot springs that are definitely meant for viewing and not for bathing. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to dip my toe in there. This next pool is known as Chinoike Jigoku, which translates as Blood Red Pond Hell or Bloody Hell Pond. It's actually the mud that's red, not the water. Ah, here we go. Here's a pool that can be used by visitors for bathing their tired feet. I know I go on about them, but seriously, those cherry blossoms, they're just gorgeous. Moving on to the Bouzu Jigoku, or Monk Hell, a garden full of bubbling pools of mud reaching temperatures greater than 90 degrees Celsius. This particular pool of water was really quite loud, almost like the chug of a steam train. During our late afternoon stroll through the village, we were serenaded by this cool Buddhist priest with a rendition of Deep Purple on his guitar.
We all came out to Kanama, Onsen Jigoku Mushi. 卵野菜魚何でもとしてやる。スチーム地獄虫、金は名物。スチームして食うか、湯気がin the sky。
Nice one! Tomoko-san also allowed us to take a sip from one of the hot spring fountains. I can only describe it as tasting like the purest and cleanest of water. Finally, we checked into our new hotel, and this was our bathroom.
What?
This hotel also had its own onsen, which we agreed was much nicer than the previous one we tried. The outdoor baths were made up of natural rocks, and from there you could enjoy an incredible view of Beppu Bay whilst you bathe. I wish I could share a picture of what I saw from there, but as one has to enter the onsen completely naked, no phones or cameras were allowed, of course, so this here will have to do. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. You know the drill by now. Click that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you would like to receive further updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.